This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. This today is kind of part 2 of a video that I did last week where I was talking about 5 guitars that I coveted or lusted after or found incredibly desirable over the years. And in the comments to that video, many people said, "Oh, I'm surprised you didn't mention this guitar or that one or whatever." So I had a little bit of a think and I thought, yeah, it probably does warrant a part 2. So here it is. Here are 5 more guitars that I have coveted or lusted after over the years, beginning with
a 1959 Gibson Les Paul Standard.
Indeed. Now, for a guitar fan to say that they, find a 1959 Gibson Les Paul Standard desirable is a little bit like a car nut saying that, they would really rather like to own a Ferrari 1957 250 GT California. It's that level of obviousness. But it's not just any 1959 Les Paul, it's specifically this one. Yes, indeed, the famous Peter Green, Gary Moore and now Kirk Hammett Gibson Les Paul. In the mid-1980s, I was heavily getting into Gary Moore's music, having just recently discovered him. And I had, I think I mentioned this before in a video, a live VHS of an Irish tour that Gary did. Emerald Isles, I think it was called. And basically, up to that point, what I'd seen of Gary playing, which wasn't a lot, admittedly, because, he wasn't exactly on top of the pops every week. What I'd seen of Gary, he'd been playing Ibanez's and Fenders, Strats and stuff. I'd never seen him play a Les Paul before, but on this concert, he gets a Les Paul out of the wrapper and does a barnstorming version of Parisian Walkways with a special guest appearance by Phil Lynott. And I'd never heard Gary play a Les Paul before, and I was absolutely blown away by the sound that he got out of it. And then I later discovered that that was exactly the same guitar. Basically, I discovered the story of that guitar and found out that it was the same guitar that was also evident on all of the early Fleetwood Mac blues stuff that I was just kind of getting into at the time as well. So it was just, I wanted that guitar. It was one of those things. That specific 1959 Gibson Les Paul was, for a little while, my ideal guitar. Next.
A blonde Gibson ES335.
Yes, again, going back to the early days of my guitar playing experience back in the late 70s, I was a big fan of Dave Edmunds, and he was always on top of the pops and various other music shows that were on TV, big chart hits like Queen of Hearts or, what was the other one? He did a version of Singing the Blues and Girls Talk and I Knew the Bride and all that sort of stuff from that period. And he was always pictured with this blonde ES335, as you can see on this album cover here. Incidentally, whoever designed that album cover was obviously not a guitar player. Look at some of those chord shapes. Yes, a quick look at a Mel Bay book would have given him some more accurate source material. But anyway, this was just my favourite guitar sound of that period. I loved the sound of the guitar solos, and there always were guitar solos on those Dave Edmunds and Rockpile, singles, and I ended up buying albums. And then later on, as I say, this was sort of an era when I was starting to get into blues, and I discovered Dave Edmunds' early output in Love Sculpture. Things like his version of The Stumble, for example, the old Freddie King tune. And, of course, the really rather mad version of Sabre Dance, and a brilliant version of Chuck Berry's Promised Land. And, everywhere you looked, every publicity shot of Dave Edmunds, who was a big kind of influence on me at that time, you saw him with this blonde ES335. So, I wanted one. Simple as that. Next.
A Gibson EDS 1275.
Indeed, better known as the double neck Gibson SG. Now, one TV show that I was addicted to back in the early 80s was a music show on in the UK called The Tube, and they did on one episode like an edited down kind of segment of a performance known as the Arms Concert, which was for a charity. I think it was Action into Research for Multiple Sclerosis. I think it was in aid of Ronnie Lane, ex of The Faces. I think he was one of the people behind it. And, Eric Clapton was there, Jeff Beck was there, Steve Winwood was there, and Jimmy Page was there. And he did an absolutely captivating instrumental version of Stairway to Heaven using his double neck. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a double neck guitar. And it was like an amazing thing. It was just like, it was big and it was shiny and it was, outlandish. And, I think about 17 or 18 years old at the time, and that's, what I aspired to. Also around about that time, I think also on the Tube, I saw, a performance from that famous film of the Eagles live doing Hotel California, and Don Felder was playing a white one of these, and again, it was just such a magical performance, and that guitar seemed to be intrinsically part of it, and it was, as I say, it had two necks. Two is better than one. I want one. So for a long time, well, not for a long time, but for a little while at that period in my life, that was a guitar that I really, really wanted. Next.
An Ibanez 540S.
Yeah, now, 80s shred guitar instrumental stuff never really kind of got its teeth into me, I've got to tell you. One or two exceptions, but the whole Yngwie, Tony McAlpine kind of thing, mainly all neoclassical stuff, it just didn't really kind of do anything for me. So I wasn't really interested in the whole kind of shred thing. At this time, I was going more and more down a blues and, jazz rabbit hole. And then I heard Surfing with the Alien. And this publicity shot was on the inner sleeve of the vinyl version of that album, which was the version that I had. I hadn't quite graduated to CDs yet in 1987. And it just, I didn't know at the time that guitar appeared apparently nowhere on the album. That was just a publicity shot with a borrowed guitar that Joe was posing with. I think in a recent interview with Rick Beato, Joe says he used a Kramer guitar on Surfing with the Alien. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my memory of that interview from a little while ago. But, I was convinced that if I had that guitar that you can see Joe kind of doing that pose with there, that the tremolo would stay in tune and the action would be so ridiculously low that I'd be able to slither around the neck with the ferocity and speed that Joe manages on that album. And that's why I wanted an Ibanez 540S. For a little while anyway. Next.
A Gibson Firebird VII.
Yes, a Gibson Firebird VII. Now, this isn't a guitar that I'd seen in photographs at the time, anyway. This goes back to when I was about 15. I was playing in a band, and the other guitarist in the band was an old man of about 26, 27, and he was playing at the time a CSL copy of a Gibson Les Paul Custom, I think. It was a Les Paul copy anyway, and I think it was a CSL. And he was forever lamenting the fact that he used to own a 3-pickup Gibson Firebird. And according to him, it was just the best guitar in the world. It was, you know, the perfect blend, the perfect combination of Gibson raunch and power. But he says, you can get all of your Strat tones out of it. It's a fantastic guitar, you know. And he was just banging on about this Gibson Firebird all the time. And, you know, I just didn't know what one looked like. I had this mental picture in my head of like something that might be a posher version of a Les Paul or something like that. I didn't know. And then I managed to get hold of a copy of an old Gibson catalogue, you know, with you know, various different guitars in it. And I was thumbing through it and saw the Firebird and saw a guitar that looked a lot like this one. Albeit in black and white, and I just thought, that is the coolest thing ever. You know, it just looked like the funkiest shape. It just looked like, you know, you can see the 3 pickups and a tremolo, so it's kind of a bit like a Strat, but it's just like, you know, it just looked so futuristic and, you know, amazing to me that, and, you know, given what this older guy who'd been mentoring me had told me about this, how fantastic these guitars were, I just wanted one, and that was that. So there you go, 5 more guitars that I coveted and lusted after over many years as a guitarist. And you'll notice that none of the guitars, either in this video or the previous video that I did, were Telecaster shaped or had, you know, anything to do with this style of guitar, which I'll just give this a plug again. This is my rather wonderful Scott Guitars UK John Robson signature model. It's a hand-built in the UK artisan boutique, absolutely top shelf instrument, and it's well, if you think about the kind of price you can pay for like a top end PRS SE or something like that, you're getting up towards about £1,000 for one of those. Save up a little bit longer and you can have one of those. No-brainer. You know, it's an absolutely fantastic instrument. I'm happy to have my name on it, and, you know, if you've seen any of the videos I've been doing recently, you'll have seen that guitar in action. I'll put a link to Scott Guitars down in the description box below, so, you know, if you're looking for something a little bit special, then it might be worth sticking on your to consider list. Let's put it like that. Anyway, folks, that's pretty much it for today. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it reasonably entertaining. That was, after all, the point of all of this. And if you have, please press the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not give me a like while you're at it? And let's not forget the live stream tomorrow, 5 PM GMT. Basically, we just sit around and have a beer and a chat about guitars and music. It's a great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see many of you there. If you're interested in supporting the channel, all the links are downstairs in the description. Thank you so much if you're doing anything like that to help me keep the lights on around here, and thank you in advance if you're thinking about doing it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.